Meet the Fockers versus Sunset Boulevard.
Ugh, Sunset Boulevard, please.
I agree.
Hot Shots Part 2 versus 300.
300.
I have no idea what Hot Shots Part 2 is.
Saving Private Ryan versus The Butterfly Effect.
Oh, Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
Harry Potter Order of the Phoenix versus The Aviator.
Aviator.
Harry Potter, of course.
Ooh.
It's Harry Potter Order of the Phoenix versus The Aviator on this episode of Film Fights. Hello everyone, welcome to Film Fights, the podcast where we use a random movie generator to pick two films and pit two contestants against each other to convince me and maybe you listening out there on what to watch next. My name is Matt Dodd. Today, I'm joined by Jordan Johnston and Luke Williams.
Howdy.
To represent Harry Potter, Order of the Phoenix, and The Aviator,
Boo.
respectively. How you doing, guys?
Do you have to be
Good.
respectful? Wait a second.
Yeah,
Hey,
I'm
no,
out.
No, you don't have to be respectful, but, you know,
Okay,
the
yes.
movies you're
All right, just
representing
making
were
sure.
respectively those two.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, Jordan,
Hello.
what's the last movie you saw in theaters?
Ooh, Finding Dory.
Ah, that's right. What'd you think of Finding Dory?
I thought it was too cute for words. I'm a sucker. I'm such a sucker for little animated fish.
I've seen it too.
The
No,
big
I
eyes and the
They are dreadfully cute.
yeah.
think they were cheating a little bit with the baby Dory. I think.
They really
It wasn't
were.
fair. There was
It
more
was
eyes than
so
fish.
cute. No, it strayed a
eyes and a
little
tail.
bit, but you know, it was a little out of the box.
Yeah.
But I mean, I will always still be loyal to those movies and Disney because it's cute and funny.
No, it's a great movie. I mean, obviously it's doing extremely well. It's going to be the highest grossing animated movie of all time for now. So,
That's
Luke, what you been watching lately? Anything interesting?
Well, the last movie I went and saw in theaters, me and my brother went and saw The Nice Guys.
How'd you like that? I haven't seen that yet.
It was really funny. It kind of had that buddy cop feel to it, with like a, I don't know. I just noticed in the acting of both Russell Crowe and
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling, thank you, that they must have studied Abbott and Costello before they made the movie, because Ryan Gosling is like literally stealing moves from Costello. I mean, this whole like one scene where he finds his dead body. Anyway, it was pretty good. It was nice.
All right, guys, let's get down to it. So, Jordan, how long has it been since you've watched Order of the Phoenix?
I've watched this movie within the past couple months.
Okay.
Random Harry Potter weekend.
Okay.
And this is the one that I sit down to watch because it's one of my favorites.
And I've seen them all, but I'm going to have to lean on you to be the expert here. This is the fifth film?
Correct. The fifth.
If people aren't really familiar with it, broad strokes, what kind of happens in this movie?
Lord Voldemort is back. He is risen, and everybody is first in denial about it. Mm-hmm. And even though Harry Potter saw him, people are giving him some slack about it. But he's still at school, and he and his friends decide that they need to protect themselves while they're at school because their professors, they're not really teaching them anything that's useful. And they join together and create this rogue group of young wizards. And they fight and learn and train themselves to eventually square off against the bad guys. Long story short, it ends with Harry Potter, once again, facing off Lord Voldemort in a very serious, dramatic way.
And it really sets up like the real kind of act 3 of the whole greater story too, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. Harry's a little bit older.
Yeah.
Voldemort's a little scarier. He's real. He's right there. They are kind of getting to the level of peers in the magic world. Like, Harry's not just a kid anymore.
Yeah.
But you still got Dumbledore around, and, you know, they're just going at it.
Okay, we'll come back to that. I got some questions for you in just a second. But I guess first we should talk to Luke. I mean, he's
Ugh,
just kind of sitting here.
Gross.
Hey,
Hey, buddy.
hey, what's up?
You're talking about The Aviator today.
Yes.
When's the last time you saw that movie?
A couple months, probably.
Okay.
It's actually a movie that I revisit. I've probably seen, as long as it is, I've still probably seen it about 4 or 5 times.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say,
Wow,
that's a lot
okay.
of wasted time.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't believe so, but that's fine. So yeah, I mean, like, well, with most Martin Scorsese movies, I can revisit them quite often because I can always find something I love about him.
Sure.
But this one in particular is about Howard Hughes, the filmmaker, who started making films in the silent era and followed all the way through, I think, the 50s, possibly. He kind of got out, he only directed like 3 films, and then he produced films into the 50s and was into everything else, aviation. The movie is about him, kind of dips into a little bit of all those areas of his life, mainly focusing on the films. At first, the first half of the film is about his movie work on Hell's Angels and Scarface.
That's right.
And The Outlaw, which were all groundbreaking movies for their times because they all kind of added something new to the film world that hadn't been there before. And then the second half of the movie is more or less about his aviation exploits, the innovations he brought to that field as well.
Okay.
But it really delves deeply into his OCD, neurotic behavior throughout his life.
It's character drama for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so there's no magic in your movie.
No magic except the magic of film.
Oh.
Boo.
Did not win over the crowd very well. I don't know, listeners at home, I guess you can weigh in what you thought, but didn't win the room over. That's okay.
Well, yeah.
So it's time to convince me on what to watch this weekend. Ultimately, your goal is to get across the reasons why you love your movie more than the other one. Put down the other film, build yours up, whatever you want to do. It's okay. So Jordan, we were talking a little bit with your film. I feel like from what I remember, this was the first one. 3 and 4 were a little bit darker, but this one definitely kind of took more of the darker tone and more the teenager kind of feel.
You see more of the dark sides of Harry dealing with the pressure of being potentially the chosen one. And that is a big theme of this movie. Like, is him being the chosen one, all of these people talking? Is it real? Is it an actual prophecy? And dealing with that and not only just dealing with that, but being a teenager, your first crush and asking people to dances and living that life in, a crazy boarding school as a teenager would be crazy in itself. And then you have to deal with somebody always wanting to kill you.
It's a coming of age story, but set in this fantastical kind of world. Yeah.
What do you mean fantastical? Magic's not real?
I don't know. Is magic real?
What about Santa Claus?
Santa Claus is real.
Oh, okay.
One thing that annoys me about most Harry Potter movies is that he's always dealing with that. It's like, I'm the chosen one, but I don't know how to deal with this. And that just kind of goes through every film. That's the kind of thing that
it's a very overarching thing for sure.
In this one, there is a part they actually find the prophecy. There are these little orbs
thank God.
Well, it's in this big room of prophecies. So they went and they obtained this prophecy because Lord Voldemort's trying to figure out, is he actually going to be the person that kills him?
Now, is Lord Voldemort, he's not the baby anymore, like the little demon baby?
No, he's no...
Didn't they drop him in a cauldron at some point, and then he came out and he's like, I'm this cool serpent dude.
Yep.
Yeah. The noseless shaved head.
Did that happen to you, though, right?
I was a demon baby for a while. Yeah.
Okay.
So, just to gauge, too, what the baseline is for you, have you seen all the Harry Potter films, Luke?
I have.
Okay.
Do I remember most of them? No, because I always went to the midnight screenings with my little brother and sisters, and I was always half into it and half asleep.
Not really a big fan of the series overall.
I do like the series, but the movies all kind of run together for me, so I have a hard time remembering which movie is which. I think this one had they were fighting in that room with all the chimneys and stuff. And there was that the big fight between Dumbledore and Voldemort? Yeah. Okay, so I'm on the right track.
You're in the right one.
Okay.
Yep.
That was a kind of a cool fight scene.
Yeah.
There's elements for sure. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I've seen all of them. I could not tell you for sure what bleeds over for someone, but roughly, do you have any idea what your favorite would be in that series?
Anyone that Gary Oldman's pretty forefront in
prominent
in the script.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah.
That's probably one of my favorites. I'm
He's very prominent in this movie as well.
Oh, he is?
He is.
How about you, Jordan? Where does this rank among the Harry Potter films?
This is 1 or 2.
Okay.
I really like it. I like how it not only the storyline of is darker, but the look of the movie is a different. It's darker. It's more intense. It feels grown up compared to the earlier ones. And come on, I'm a young kid. I grew up with the books. I grew up with these movies. I felt like when I saw this, like, oh, I'm going through these things, you know, it's relatable.
Wow, you really are young then.
Right in that timeline, though. That makes sense.
It's relatable.
I felt that way when I read The Hobbit and J.R. Tolkien had just written it.
Luke is
Do you have hairy
pretty
feet?
old.
I do.
Aw,
I've been accused
I
of
knew
Hobbit
it.
feet.
Yeah, I wasn't
I
gonna
knew
bring
it.
it up that he had his like no shoes on, and his feet on the table. I thought it was a little awkward,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah,
know,
and
it's
smoking
all
my
right.
pipe weed.
Right. That's fair.
We're just glad you're here. That's
Thanks.
all. Thanks for making the journey. I know it's probably a long walk for you.
It was a unexpected journey.
Boo.
There we go.
So now we're teaming up. This isn't good.
Boo. All right, back to the better movie here.
So back to these movies. So you
Well,
said it
here's
was
the problem,
one or
though.
two.
If you're really gonna choose a movie, like say tonight, I'm sitting down and watch this movie. If you haven't seen any Harry Potter movies, can you just really jump into the middle of this one?
I think you can because it's the start of a new chapter, and you get the back half of, okay, this evil guy has now come back to power. What is the world doing about it? And I think you could just sit down and watch it.
If I'm remembering correctly, too, I think it's the first one that David Yates directed, who then directed the rest of them
Yes.
in the series. So they all
So
kind
you
of
made a good
have...
impression.
Well, yeah, and then they all kind of have a similar like tone and feel. Like,
Right. This one makes Harry seem like an actual character you want to believe in, not just because he was born into this role kind of thrusted upon him. He actually takes action, starts teaching his friends how to do magic. He holds his own. He's not just like a pushover, whiny kid. He's stepped up to the plate in this
I
one.
don't know. He kind of remains the pushover, whiny kid through the whole series.
No!
It's like, come on, Harry. Even when he finally does like get powerful, I think in the end you're still like, that was a letdown.
What? That's like, oh, he did it. It's over. Like, we can all breathe easy again.
So Luke, Scorsese, you said, obviously you said you love Scorsese, you can watch his stuff all the time. He's done a lot of amazing movies.
Not to say
for
that I
sure.
don't get tired of him sometimes.
No,
because
no.
Sometimes it's like, well, that's enough.
It's just, mostly they're
I have to take
longer,
breaks.
they're a little harder, like, drama's a little darker.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen most of his films. Where does The Aviator rank kind of among some of those? Because he's done some very classic movies. You have Taxi
Yeah.
Driver, Raging Bull.
Well, this is one of the first
Goodfellas.
movies to me that kind of it diverted from his crime dramas and his more violent movies. This is one that, although there are a couple scenes maybe, but it's a little bit more for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like, a lot of people don't want to watch these movies because it's either a gangster movie,
Yeah.
or there's lots of violence, or some psychotic thing going on. But this one actually has a little bit for everyone. If you're not into film or aviation, it's still really interesting how this guy, as a biopic, how this guy was able to do so many things and kind of overcome at points, be able to overcome his psychotic tendencies.
Yeah.
It is a long movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's close to
Yes.
3 hours, probably, like most of his movies. So you
Yeah.
have to be ready to watch, sit down and watch a film. But it's one of those movies, actually, that you could watch the first half, take a little break, and then go back and watch the second, because they are kind of, not necessarily two different movies, but they do kind of follow a little bit different train of thought.
That kind of drives me nuts. It seems like it takes a tonal shift. And also, I'm going to see The Aviator, and I don't see anything about aviation for a little while.
No, the movie opens with the dogfight scene in the air with planes.
See, I don't think The Aviator when I think that movie. Like, I don't think it should be called The Aviator.
What should it be called?
I don't know, something about the films, because I found that more interesting
Yeah.
than the aviation.
Well, and that maybe it spoke to you a little bit more, but I feel like, although the first half of the movie is more about filmmaking,
Yeah.
and that does draw you into it because it is probably more interesting and more palatable for the audience to get into, but aviation is strung throughout the whole thing, because you see in kind of the background, he's shooting this movie called Hell's Angels, which is all about the dogfights in World War I believe.
I think so, yeah.
With Red Baron and that whole thing. He's so intrigued by planes, and he's bought. It says like the first like scene in there. He's talking about. He's like, I'm the owner of the largest private air force in the world, and that whole idea of him being intrigued by aviation really does follow throughout the whole movie.
All right, so we need to kind of get wrapping this up, but quickly, like, favorite scene in Order of the Phoenix? Like, is there one, like, standout moment where you're like, man, like, that is iconic to me for that film?
Luke referenced it a little bit earlier when they were fighting in the chimney area. So, Lord Voldemort is fighting and chasing after Harry. Dumbledore comes and helps him to his rescue, and there's this epic fight between Dumbledore and Voldemort, but then it takes a sudden twist, and Voldemort is inside Harry's mind, and they have this, like, it's a mental thing flashing through Harry's head, and Dumbledore is there talking about how he's good, and just to force him out, and it's very dramatic, and it's kind of a all-encompassing, it's not just like a physical battle, but it's more than that, and he can overcome it because he's good.
What about you and the Aviator? Anything in particular? I remember Jars of Pee.
Jars of Pee. I was going to reference...
Which is gross.
I was thinking about that scene when she was talking because you're really kind of seeing his
neuroses.
His neuroses and that whole thought process because he's going through like, you know, I will not take the cap off with my left hand and put it in my pocket. You know, he's trying to like kind of talk himself out of that. But I was also kind of thinking one scene I really liked, and maybe just because I like being able to stick it to the man, is when he's in front of the House Un-American Committee, how he was able to hold his own against the U.S. government, and how he really made intelligent arguments. I don't know, kind of really champions the underdog. And I'm sure it's what a lot of people during that time period would have liked to have said to the U.S. government, but they weren't able to. That scene to me is really kind of imbibing, I guess if that's a word. But overall,
Not sure
I really
it is,
think...
but all right.
Is that a word? Yeah, I think so. Imbibing,
whatever.
Energizing. That's one word you could use. But it gets my blood pumping. We'll just say that. But overall, I think the film. Okay, let me say this.
Please.
You know, I'm really in love with the whole era of the film in the 40s and 50s and music and the whole kind of lifestyle they had. It was really glamorous and fun. It seems like. I feel like Scorsese was really able to capture that. In a sense, without going too overboard. I think he kind of borders on overboard with the characters. And some other people that watch it might think the same thing, but if you look at old movies from the 40s and 50s, that's kind of how they played it. So that's what we have to go on.
I thought the same thing. I was like, bring it in a little bit.
Right, but that's really all we had to go on, so that's kind of what he's playing on, and it's kind of playing a movie within a movie itself.
Before I make my final decision, though, let's see how much you really know about your films. I got a few trivia questions for you. You ready?
Dun, 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 dun.
The Order of the Phoenix book is the longest in the Harry Potter series. We talked a lot about The Aviator being really long. But where did the film land on the longest overall run times for Harry Potter films? Is it the longest movie?
No. Third longest. Yeah.
I would say fourth longest.
Fourth longest. It is the second shortest.
Oh.
At 2 hours and 18 minutes, which I thought was very weird. It's like, how's the longest book one of the shortest films? That seems strange to me.
Story.
Maybe.
Wow.
Maybe.
No, it is not. Don't insult my movie taste like that.
Kate Beckinsale plays Hollywood starlet Ava Gardner in The Aviator, but had to make some weight changes to fit the role. Did she gain or lose weight, and how much?
Gain weight. 20 pounds.
I'm going to say she lost 15 pounds.
I'm rethinking that. 20 pounds is a lot to gain, but, gained 15.
She did gain weight. She gained 20 pounds.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Yeah.
Wow. Hey,
You should have gone with your gut. Yeah.
Ava Gardner was kind of a full-figured woman.
After the release of Order of the Phoenix, the film's three main stars, Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint, submitted their handprints, footprints, and what else into the cement in front of Grauman's Chinese Theater?
Broom prints.
Good guess.
I think it's their wands.
That is their wand prints. It made sense.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's kind of interesting. So, The Aviator was a huge Oscar contender the year it came out. How many nominations did it receive?
5.
8.
It was 11, so you were closer.
Wow.
There you
Yes.
go. There you go.
That's
Yeah,
a lot.
11 nominations.
How many did it win?
Sure.
I thought it was 5.
I think it was 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would have gotten that question right.
Before I choose, you guys get one last chance to win me over. Jordan, we'll let you go first. In a minute or so, if you want to reiterate a point, throw in something you didn't get before.
This movie is fun. It is a little serious, but not in a dramatic kind of way. The subject matter is just more serious, and you take the characters more serious. It's a fun movie. It moves well. It kind of lets you escape from, reality. It is about magic.
Which is real.
Yes,
We've
as far as
established.
Santa's concerned. The movie itself looks good. I'm a big fan of, all the effects and whatnot. It's shorter than The Aviator, coming in at 2 hours and 13 minutes.
18, I think.
18?
Yeah.
So that's not too bad.
Yeah.
It's a movie you could just watch and casually watch. It's not really long and not as depressing watching this guy go through all these, really scary neuroses.
That's
That
why
kinda
you might want
scares
to
me.
have something else going on if you're watching Harry Potter, because it will be confusing and boring.
No, that's not true. It's
You're
a
right.
good
You're
thing.
right.
All right,
There's
all right,
more
all right.
fun.
objects going on. So
We
you
had
just
our
kinda have the movie going
fight
in the
back and
background.
forth. This was her closing argument.
And I'm just getting riled up.
All right. Well, Luke, you can get a closing argument for The Aviator. What do you got?
Well, I don't know. I think I already made a pretty decent argument, and I think, no, I'm just joking. The Oscars don't always speak to the credit of a movie. I mean, I know we have a lot of bad Oscar picks, but there's a good reason this movie got nominated for so many Oscars, because it really does. Martin Scorsese really does take you on the journey through this time period and through Howard Hughes' mind. It will give you, if you're interested in these topics, it will give you a nice little insight into how some of the things in the film and aviation industry changed in the 1950s and 40s and 50s. And but once again, you have to be ready for to sit down with a long movie and be with these characters. But the good thing, I think, is watching this movie. What I always ask myself is this movie I would watch again, and obviously I have watched it again numerous times, because I enjoy being with the characters. I enjoy kind of getting a little taste of what this guy went through, and like I said, you have to be prepared for it, though. I think emotionally.
I agree. And that being the case, I don't know that I'm prepared for it emotionally. I think you both did very well. I think it could go either way. But since you stepped on her there at the end with the closing statement, and just you went on a little bit long there in that closing statement,
Long-winded.
I kind of lost.
Oh wow, that's why I lost.
Just
Because I really fought for my.
so yeah, I'm gonna pick Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix.
Yes!
It's gonna be a little weird watching it the middle movie in the franchise, but yeah, I've seen them, so it'll be interesting.
You know
to
what's going
revisit.
on. It's
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
like
I'll
you
pick it
don't
up.
know what Harry Potter's about.
I think they set it up enough.
So what
You're
are you
going
picking
to
this based
enjoy
on
it.
again?
My own personal bias. There's no real justification. But see, that's the thing. The listeners at home are free to pick whatever film they want. If they really want to watch The Aviator, that's fine. The Aviator is actually currently on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, you can watch The Aviator for free.
And I think it's on Netflix.
So I've made my decision, but the listeners out there, let us know what you think. You can comment on the Film Fights Podcast Facebook page to discuss this matchup with others, or tell me what you think directly on Twitter. I'm at Matthew Dodd.
If
Luke,
you're just generally outraged about the
I'll find
film, you can message me privately on Facebook and publicly to shame Matt.
that's totally fine. Shame me. Shame me. You can just do the Game of Thrones thing and just keep saying shame. Shame. I welcome your shame. Jordan, where can people find you online?
I'm on Facebook, and I'm also on Twitter at Jordan W. Johnston.
Perfect. Luke, I don't think you said where you were on Twitter.
Well, I'll be on Twitter at InLucation, EnLukeCation.
I'm helping you out a little bit there. We could have just left that in the dark and no one would have ever found you. But now
Probably
we can have
for the
a place
better.
to direct shame. You
What?
can team up on me. That's
That's right.
great.
That's right. Let's get a shame Twitter going on. Shame tweets.
If you didn't hear our last episode with Joe and Yuki, it was Ace Ventura, Pet Detective versus Snatch. Joe was the winner. You can find that on iTunes wherever you listen to this podcast. He picked Harold and Maude as a film. Have you guys seen that film?
No, I haven't. It's on my need to see list, and Joe has been trying to get me to watch that movie for a couple years now, and it's on my list.
I promise you, Joe, I'm watching it. Do you guys know anything about the film at all?
I know nothing
Yes.
about this film.
I remember back in the day when it was on Netflix, I remember seeing it recommended on drama, comedy, romantic. It kept popping up everywhere, and I was very confused because I knew nothing about it. And I was like, this just looks weird. It's like two people standing there. This does not look like a movie that looks interesting. But I will say, from watching the first 20 minutes, I was very intrigued and really wanted to watch it.
And then you turned it
was way
off.
too late. I'm very busy, Luke. I'm hosting podcasts. I'm doing all kinds of things. I just don't have time to watch a lot of movies.
Shame.
Shame. There you go. Send me your shame. That's totally fine.
Sure.
Totally fine. All right, so let's wrap this up. Jordan, what film would you like to recommend?
I would like to recommend, it's called The Fundamentals of Caring. It's on Netflix. Paul Rudd, Selena Gomez.
Craig Roberts.
Yes.
Little known. Yeah, he's coming
Yeah.
up, though. He's a very good actor.
I recommend it solely for I would like to get more opinion about what people thought about this movie, because there were moments I really liked, and Paul Rudd's a very strong character, and I really liked his development as a character throughout the movie. It's more of the other parts and how they are integrated into the movie that I like at moments, and sometimes I didn't really care for.
Sure.
So I'm recommending this movie to get more opinions about and have more conversation about this movie, because overall I left feeling like, I don't know.
Okay.
But I laughed, and, it's serious at times, but it takes a really sad topic and kind of adds that dark humor to it.
Yeah.
But I would love to hear more opinions about it. So I recommend that movie. It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Go see
I actually recommended it in a video I did a little while ago when it came out to Netflix. It was interesting. Like, I liked a lot of elements about it, but I'm with you. Like, I would be curious to hear other people's opinions. So let us know. Thank you guys for both being here.
Thank
It was a lot of
you.
fun.
You're welcome.
Luke, it was so much fun.
It was fun.
Enjoy the movies, everyone.